Hey guys, what's up? It's your Dreadscape Gaming here. Today on the channel we're going to be playing Godzilla Generations Maximum Impact, the sequel to Godzilla Generations, which we have been playing on the channel throughout the month of November as part of Godzilla Month, because Godzilla just celebrated his 69th anniversary, as well as the release of Godzilla -1 in Japan. That movie is going to be coming out December 1st in America. I will definitely be watching that movie when it comes out, hopefully in IMAX. So, what you're going to notice with this particular game as compared to the original Godzilla Generations is that it's not where you're controlling Godzilla moving around the city and just kind of destroying things in like a poor man's version of Rampage. This version of the Godzilla game is basically a rail shooter, so it's Godzilla as a rail shooter. One of the other things that you're going to notice while we're playing through it, I'm going to be doing the entire game here in a straight playthrough, is the fact that this is based off the 90s / late 80s Godzilla movies. So basically the Return of Godzilla all the way to Godzilla vs. Destroyer, that being the Heisei era of Godzilla films, which is cool because that's one of my more favorite library of Godzilla movies, although I am partially a fan of the Showa era. So the game starts out relatively easy, and then it's going to ramp up its difficulty quite a bit. So just for a little bit of heads up, if I do die at any point, I am going to be editing it out of this video, because that's just kind of how I roll on this channel, because I don't like to drag things out longer than they necessarily need to be. Maybe somebody just wants to see the actual game and not have it uninterrupted by stuff like that. So one of the other things that you're going to notice about this game is the music is really freaking good. The one thing that always I kind of complained a little bit about is Godzilla's design in this game in general, because he kind of looks a little bit distorted-ish. So as you're going to notice, stage 1, we're going to play in Osaka. There's like 2 to 3 stages per every map. There's 6 stages in total. So this is it, yeah. We basically move around constantly. It's a rail shooter. You're going to basically charge up your beam and put your crosshair over things that auto-target. At first, it's very easy. This is actually one of my favorite Godzilla games, ironically, even though it's not perfect. Just based on the fact that it's really kind of gives me a fun sense of a Godzilla game. You get, you know, to destroy the city, smash things around, destroy helicopters, destroy little things, and then on top of that, you have boss battles in the end of particular chapters. So you face off against all the Heisei monsters, although there's some that are a little bit different, and you'll see when we get to it. So we're gonna fire off here. If I was a little bit more savvy with my controller, it's been a while since I played this game, just so you guys know, so it's gonna take me a while to warm up. You know, it's interesting because you get the lock-on feature. There's also a dodge button, but I will probably forget that I have a dodge button in this game just because of that. So when you fully charge up your beam, you get the red Rodan beam, and as well as the kind of like explosion effect to destroy things around. Now, Godzilla's constantly moving forward. There's not really too much you can do to stop him, because that's just kind of how it is a rail shooter. It's just everything constantly moving around. And the point of the game, obviously, besides getting to the end to see end credits, is that you're trying to get the highest score possible. Let's fire off that beam there. Alright, we took out all the enemies. We've destroyed a lot of the map. Also, I can't target onto buildings. I can only target onto enemies. So I can just kind of fire off the beam. Let me be careful there, because they are trying to shoot me, which I don't appreciate that. Okay, cool. Is that you can just beam the buildings randomly, you can walk through them. I don't have a tail swipe, unfortunately, like in the previous Godzilla game. That's kind of a little bit short-sighted, you could say. Realistically, this game's only one button. You can also play with the Sega light gun for the Dreamcast. Unfortunately, I don't have a Sega light gun anymore. It's kind of the reason why I don't play typing the Dead Ivor on Sega Dreamcast, because I don't have a Sega Dreamcast keyboard, and to get a Sega Dreamcast keyboard would be a pain in the butt. Those things go for a ton of money, and some people are like, oh, well, I can't use a regular keyboard. Nah, son, you can't. Not back in those days. Back in those days, you have to get the officially licensed keyboard to work with the game. Gamers these days have it easy. Back in 1999, we didn't have it so easy. We had dial-up connection to actually play our video games. So just imagine trying to play games on a dial-up connection. It wasn't that bad necessarily. Dreamcast was actually one of the first systems to introduce that. Then, obviously, PlayStation 2 adopted that, and then GameCube. So, you know, So this is the boss battle. First boss swap is Biollante. So the game kind of, you could say, roughly starts after the Return of Godzilla. And it really starts already with Godzilla versus Biollante. One of my favorite films, too. By the way, just because of the art style, the story. I think it had one of the best Heisei Godzilla costumes, in my personal opinion. Although some people are partial to the Mecha Godzilla / Space Godzilla / Destroyer costume. Even though Burn Godzilla kind of is a little bit different in design. So there it is, good old Biollante, the half Godzilla, half plant hybrid. So basically he has the radioactive acid as well as the vines. We have to just basically deplete his life bar, just like a boss battle would. I love the fact that all the monsters have their classic sound effects too, so it's kind of cool. So here we go, boss battle 1-2 versus Biollante. Let's just see what we can do here. I don't remember actually much of the boss fight, except that you have to target all the limbs and try to destroy them before he gets in an attack, because if he doesn't, he's going to make your life a living hell. Or she, because technically Biollante is the spirit of the doctor who created his daughter. So, always a cool monster. I always wish that if they were to do another Godzilla movie after, whether it's in the Monsterverse, maybe after Godzilla -1, that we would see Biollante again in some form, because I feel like Biollante was a really cool concept for its time. Probably one of the best looking monsters also of the Heisei era, and we just don't get to see that much of it. I would like to see a newer version of Biollante. I think there's a lot that could be done with it. Oop. Yeah, see, that's why you gotta destroy the faces and the vines, because if you don't do it, you're gonna be in for a rough time. So let me wait for Biollante to move back. I'm just gonna charge up the beam as much as possible, so we can take out everything. I got freaking Vine Whip there anyway. What do you think you are, Bulbasaur? No. Take that. Let's burn you to the ground. Alright, Biollante has been defeated. Not the hardest boss battle. Obviously, they're going to ease you into the game. But as you get later on into the game, against Space Godzilla in particular, as well as Destroyer, oh, those boss battles can be a little bit difficult. Alright, so, doing pretty good so far. Godzilla's got his first up onto the second chapter. If I remember correctly, second chapter, we should be going up against Mothra's larva and Mothra as well. So that's a little bit, I guess you could say, a bit spoiler alert if I remember correctly. Oh, no. It's not Mothra. Maybe it's Ghidorah that we're face off? Yeah, because it's going in chronological order. So there's Biollante, then King Ghidorah. Yeah, okay, so then Mothra comes after that. Alright. Took a while. It's been a while since I played this game. Like, at least... Last time I played this game might have been at least 10 years back. Alright, rawr. I still wish they kind of tweaked Godzilla's design a little bit in this game, because I would have liked the models for Generations used in this, but with the rail shooting. But obviously, the developer of this game is way different from the original Godzilla Generations. And we will still play through Godzilla Generations. I do plan to play through the whole game for Godzilla Month. We finished Fujisaka, I believe was the map that we did, something like that, or Fujiwara. So now we're gonna take out Osaka in our Godzilla Generations playthrough, but not here. Here we're just taking out, basically, I think they said Neo Tokyo, so it's like second coming of Tokyo, because we had already destroyed in the first chapter. Here, we're gonna get introduced to one of my bane of the existence that I don't like, which is, if I remember correctly, tanks eventually show up on the stage. Which is very annoying to deal with them, because they kind of blend in with the background. I think they show up I think they're towards the end of the map. We'll have to see, or maybe the midway point. Stages aren't very long in this game, obviously, because it's a rail shooter. I wonder if this game originally was supposed to come out for Sega Arcade, because it's kind of got a lot of very arcadey feel to it. And back then, Sega was putting out a lot of arcade games. There was the House of the Dead, too, which is something I've been curious on playing. Maybe at some point I should play House of the Dead here, because I do have it available on the Dreamcast to play. Alright. See, that's why I had to be careful there. The roars do not heal you, keep in mind, unlike the previous Godzilla Generations game. So, like, if you lose your health, you have to start over. Which can get kind of annoying in the later stages, even though the stages themselves aren't particularly long. Let's lay waste to the city here. Let's go beam. Yeah. Well, I really wish you could have locked onto the buildings. That would have been kind of cool. Another thing that I would have loved to have seen is the Godzilla Millennium skin in here. Because in 1999, Godzilla Millennium was currently in production, ironically, because of the TriStar box office bomb that was. There's the little things I was telling you about. We have to These are basically a little, like, not tanks, but they're vans that fire off missiles. If you're not careful, you don't spot them. They're the red little dots on the screen because you have to really pay attention to the minimap. They kind of come out of nowhere. They hide behind buildings. They kind of get the drop on you every once in a while, which can get a little bit annoying. The fact that you can't actually, like, auto-lock onto the buildings is a little annoying, but I understand why they do that, because if they can't make everything too easy for us. Alright, that's a jet. I got hit by that. I keep forgetting I have a dodge button in this game. Oop. See? That's what I'm telling you. They hide behind the buildings, and then they're like one of the most annoying things to deal with, because sometimes you walk too quickly, and you'll just kind of get stun locked into going down. Case in point there. How dare you do that to Godzilla? I'm trying to find where it is so I can target it. Okay. It was hiding behind the Japanese tower there. That was very annoying. As you see, when you roar, you don't get back out. So the only way really to get back out is to end the stage. Ah, I just got shot for my troubles there. I wanted to demonstrate that. And damn little freaking jet plane had to screw everything over for us. Alright, there we go. We got through the stage. This is not the smoothest of runs, obviously, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that we reach the finish line here. Alright, very good, very good. Okay, so now we're gonna face off against King Ghidorah. And King Ghidorah, probably one of my more favorite fights in this game. On top of that, he has some of the most badass music. Like, how could you not? On my phone and MP3 player, I have this song play on my playlist because it's just such a cool, menacing sound for King Ghidorah. Like, if King Ghidorah had this type of theme in the movies that came out like that, like, they really did such a good job. So there he is, King Ghidorah. This is Heisei Ghidorah. All the monsters are featured from the Heisei era films. In case anybody's coming in and watching this after, or you missed a part of it, make sure to watch this on VOD because this is going to be a premiere. Alright, stage 2-2, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Alright, let's charge things up here. Fire off some beams. Very good. We do, as you see, we took damage, so we have to be careful because our health bar doesn't replenish per stage. You wish it would be the case, but that's not the case. You do get extra continues, though, for how high of a score you get, so that's something to keep in mind. I think you start out, depending on the setting that you picked, 6, and then from there you go up. If you pick easy, you get like 11, and then you can get maximum 12. One of the cool things that you'll notice as we're fighting King Ghidorah is that if you target the heads enough, you'll actually blow them off like in the Heisei Godzilla film. So we're gonna try to detach these heads here if we can. One of the strategies, you can walk a little bit forward to kind of get under them. I keep forgetting I do have a dodge mechanic. The dodge mechanic is very slow. Sometimes you still get hit with the beam. That's why sometimes I forget to use it even, honestly. Alright, doing pretty good here. Let's just kind of get him centered. I don't like to fire off while it's in motion because sometimes what'll end up happening is you can't stop him or he'll completely dodge out of the way. Case in point there, you noticed we already destroyed 2 of the heads, so the only head that's left is the center one here. For those of you who are hopefully looking forward to a Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah battle, that unfortunately does not happen in this game. They don't do Mecha King Ghidorah. I don't know why. I felt like that's a missed opportunity. Even though there's kind of a reason for that, you'll see when we get up to Super Mecha Godzilla here in a bit. He's like the second to next enemy that we'll fight. Alright. King Ghidorah is dead. We are the monster of monsters still. Very good, very good. It's so cool. Like, it's a nice little nuance that they had the heads blow off of King Ghidorah. Because sometimes what happens is a lot of games like that do feature Heisei Ghidorah forget that Godzilla actually decimated him. Like, it wasn't even necessarily a fair fight. Like, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah is a really, really underrated Heisei film. Not too many people like it. I think it's one of the stronger installments. I think Biollante probably is the best one. But then I would put Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Then I would put Godzilla Mecha Godzilla 2 in there. Yeah, so we're going to do Mothra fight. Then I'd probably go Godzilla vs. Mothra 2. AKA Godzilla vs. Mothra Battle for the Planet Earth. Then I would probably put Godzilla vs. Destroyer, and then Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. So if you're a Space Godzilla fan, I'm sorry, but I hate Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, just because it's really boring, very slow. The fight is okay, but the characters in the movie are dumb, and the plot itself is just kind of drags its feet and overstays its welcome. We have to fight the Mothra larvae here. They're just fighting off an army of Mothra larvae. Hopefully none of them turn into a Mothra itself, you know, full-fledged one. Alright, so... I don't really remember too much of this particular stage as to what we're supposed to be doing. So please bear with me, because if I remember correctly, there's like a collision hit detection thing where if you don't hit the Mothra larva in between, they will block the beam with the rocks. And also because unfortunately whenever you try to just move around, Godzilla automatically moves, because that's how it is with the rail shooter. We might not necessarily do so, huh? Case in point there, as you saw. Just trying to shoot him, but we don't have a good lock on. And sometimes like the beam will not fire in the range that you want. Let me try to get a little bit back here. Okay, we hit him, but he's gonna beam us here. Oh, I got hit. Fortunately, the silk doesn't do too much. Case in point there, we did lock on with the beam, but as you see, because we don't have the proper distance, it is able to evade here. So this stage is a little annoying just because of the rocks and the fact that you can't move any forward. And yeah, it's a rail shooter. Like, it would have been better if Godzilla could stay stationary in the stage. And then you could just, you know, move the cursor around and not have to worry about him trying to move around there. So, like, controls are not the best in this game. We did manage to dodge there. See if I can get either of these guys, because Super Beam, we should be able to take somebody out, right? I hit him with a red beam, and you see that the Mothra larva is still alive. You have to hit him, like, twice to be able to do it. That's how they kind of make this particular map not really difficult, but a little bit synthetically difficult. Alright, let's take him out. Okay, good. Let's target here. Let's fire off the beam. Okay, good. Let's get the next attack going. Charge up. Oh, how did I miss that beam? I am so freaking angry over that. Alright, we took out another Mothra larva. Let's fire off another beam. I think that should be the last one here. Oh no. He brought friends again. How many Mothra larvae are there? Usually Mothra has one egg, and you'll get 2 Mothra spawns, or larvae out of it. And usually one dies and the other one becomes Mothra. No, here we had a whole freaking sea of Mothras trying to attack us. An army of Mothras. That's something you don't see all the time. Alright, well, we managed to face off against the larva. Next up, we're going to have to be going up against good old Heisei Mothra, which I think is one of the best Mothra designs, in my personal opinion, because Heisei Mothra doesn't get a lot of love. Like, I think it's one of the most awesome, unique designs. They actually gave Mothra powers. They didn't make a whole bunch of sense, but at least it kind of brought Mothra up to snuff in regards to how should we be able to fight Godzilla on an equal pairing. And then I like what they did in the Rebirth of Mothra films, which are technically part of the Heisei era as well, because I think those are really, really good movies. I have to go back and watch them. I have it on... Is it Blu-ray or DVD? I don't remember. I have to check. I have the movies, though. I haven't watched them in a while. Alright. So, I think it's Blu-ray. No, I have them in Blu-ray. Okay, so let's target everything here. Let's go. I remember, like, the Blu-ray print on Godzilla vs... Or, not Godzilla. Mothra... Rebirth of Mothra 3, where it fights against King Ghidorah, was pretty bad. Because, like, there was actually dirt and smudge. I thought it was on TV at one point. I'm like, what? Is this it? But... I still like to watch Blu-rays. I have all the Godzilla movies on Blu-ray or DVD. Okay, let's charge them up. One thing I'd love to do is have like a Godzilla movie night on my Discord. I don't know why, because obviously I can't show a Godzilla movie on YouTube, obviously with commentary, because it's not for use at all. Oh, got beam there. But it's definitely something I've been interested in doing like a Godzilla Discord movie night with people from Discord. Alright, I gotta remember to put up my Discord link too. Okay, let's fire off there. Okay, good. So we gotta kind of like wait for Mothra to turn around here. We're not in the best position. I don't think I can hit him or her. Oh, we did. Because as you see, it moves around quite a bit. Controls are not perfect in this game, but the bus battles are fun. Alright, let's wait for him to get stationary. Also, Mothra does have a shield that can throw up, which gets a bit annoying here. Let's charge up. Surprised she hasn't actually used it yet, because usually she'll try to block some shots with the powder. She was trying to charge at us. How dare her. Look how pretty she looks, though. Oh, we got beamed there for trouble. Let's wait. Wait on it. Wait on it. Okay, good. Mothra's almost down. Mothra's almost down for the count. Oh, tried to 360 us there. Alright. One more beam, one more beam. Oh, one more beam was right, but it wasn't my beam. Alright. Come on, Godzilla. Get back up, get back up. I got a button mash to get back up. Okay. There we go. Mothra really put in some work here. But, you have been defeated. Thanks for coming, Mothra, but I am still the apex predator of this game. Alright, good job, good job. Mothra has fallen. Which means we're going to be going up against Super Mechagodzilla, if I remember correctly. Should be the next boss that we fight. We have to get through, obviously, United City. Roar! King of the Monsters will reign supreme. This is one of those games that I kind of wish had a wider release, because the thing about it is Godzilla Generations, the first one for Sega Dreamcast, only came out in Japan. Obviously, it was met with a lot of criticism, rightfully so. The second Godzilla game, Godzilla Maximum Impact, which we're playing now, also was only a Japanese-only release. I think this game would have done a lot better in the US shores, but the problem back then was a lot of the Godzilla Heisei movies weren't actually available to watch, really, at the time. It wasn't until, like, the early 2000s that they started to put some of the Godzilla movies out on American home release that were from the Heisei era. The only one that came out was Godzilla vs. Biollante, and then there was a long dry spell before we got, like, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, Space Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, Destroya, Godzilla vs. Mothra. This stage is very hard to beat, just so you guys know. Because the thing about this particular stage, besides the fact that the music is so freaking bopping here, is that a lot of those tiny little trucks, the bane of my existence, always show up, and sometimes they don't even appear on the map. So, like, you're getting shot by things and you don't know. Okay, we managed to dodge that. Case in point here, like, either I destroyed the aircraft or I got hit there. There was, like, no in between there. So hopefully we'll be able to close this one out. Oop, let's get some beams going. Okay, good. The other thing that I hate about this particular stage, as you just are going to see, is, like, if you destroy the gas tanks, I think they're supposed to be, like, oil or gas tank, you can't really see anything because the fire is higher than there. So, like, destroying buildings actually, despite the fact they're going to give you more points, actually ruins your field of view. Which is kind of an annoyance, because it's like they're punishing you for being actually Godzilla. And the song's really bopping. This is something that I could bop my head to at a club or something. Ironically, a lot of the music that is featured in this game was done by, like, a DJ. Like, the one thing that you'll hear eventually is the Godzilla Megamix song. Ooh, it's probably some really good stuff. Alright, so we've got to take out those little trucks. The little trucks are, like, in the middle area. See how they don't even show up on the map yet? So a lot of the time I'm just kind of holding in the trigger, hoping for something to lock on, playing a guessing game. It's kind of a bit of a nuisance on this stage, but this is not one of the hardest stages. The hardest stages come much, much later on. Like the last two stages where you're trying to get to the bosses. Okay, let's take them out. I'm not going to be able to hit everything, I think, here. I'd be surprised if we did. Well, couldn't be surprised, but we're going to hit by the tiny little truck. If I don't fire a beam off. Okay. We got hit by a different truck. Where was it? Where are you hiding? Show yourself. Alright, let's take out these flying aircraft. I do see there's two little cars off in the background. Let's see if I can... Nope. So I got hit before I could react to them. Oh, there's a whole bunch of them. Look at that. There's like a row of freaking miniature trucks there. I'm trying to ignore the aircraft for the moment, because although they are a threat and they can kind of hurt me a little bit, let's move. They're not as bad as some of the other things that we're facing off against. I think we're getting close to the end of the map. Let's see if I take that out. Oop. I would have held that a little bit longer if I had known. Let's take them out. Shoot that. Okay. Good job. The reason why I try to go hold in and get a lot of things on the crosshair is because it gives you a higher combo. So in case you're wondering why don't I just, like, fire off a beam, fire off a beam, fire off a beam. Besides the fact that it takes a long time for the cooldown on it, is that it doesn't give you the maximum amount of points, aka Godzilla Maximum Impact. You get the joke. So you want to maximize the amount of points that you could get, because the more points you get, the more continues you get, which obviously increases your success chance of actually beating the game. And I know I'm kind of making the game look pretty easy, but the game does kind of ramp up in the difficulty. So as you notice, this is basically Super Mechagodzilla 2, but as you notice, look at the long neck there. So they changed the design of Mechagodzilla for this particular game. So although it kind of looks like Mechagodzilla, I think what they ended up doing was they wanted to go a little different route, and they gave him the neck of King Ghidorah, which is why you don't have Mecha King Ghidorah. And on top of that, then they kind of changed up the design just a little bit. I think it's kind of cool. They call it, ironically, Super Mecha Godzilla the Second. So, you know, what happened to Super Mecha Godzilla, the original one? When did it get destroyed? Because we never fought it. I have a feeling that at some point, this particular boss was originally supposed to be Mecha King Ghidorah, but then at the last second, they realized that they weren't going to have enough development time to fit in every monster, so they decided to make kind of a little bit of a nuance and change it so that they kind of did this revised version of Super Mecha Godzilla. So it's like Godzilla with a long giraffe neck, or the King Ghidorah neck. I think it's kind of okay, because like when you really think about it, in the Godzilla Legendary pictures, Mecha Godzilla is basically using King Ghidorah's brain. In Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, the Heisei Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, they used the technology of Mecha King Ghidorah to be able to reverse engineer it to be able to create Super Mechagodzilla. So, you know, it kind of makes sense that they would do that then, and just kind of like a nice little nuance. It's interesting to have this type of design. Always just watch out for that beam. We're gonna get hit here. Be careful, because if I'm not too cautious, we will take a death against Super Mechagodzilla, because he has an attack that he does eventually where it's like a harpoon beam. Oh. That's what I didn't want to have happen. So he throws the cables. This is like the cables that killed Godzilla in the movie, and then Rodan resurrected it. It would be kind of cool to fight Rodan, or have Rodan come up to kind of help you. Oh. Super Mechagodzilla not playing around here. Well, can't have that happening. Let's see. I can destroy those cannons there. Yeah, he has the shield. Diamond shield just randomly happens. So you never really know what's going on. Okay, we managed to take out Super Mecha Godzilla 2 there. Good job, good job. That was a close boss battle. That's why I say then the game starts ramping up a little bit in terms of the difficulty, but still pretty high score. Pretty good, pretty good. Alright, classic Godzilla roar. Roar. Skronk. Alright. Ironically, that Godzilla roar was originally created with, like, an instrument where they were rubbing, like, a rubber glove over it. It's kind of crazy how the Godzilla roar was created. Alright, so, instead of fighting an actual city, or, like, going through stage, what ends up happening here is we get another boss battle right after the previous one. So, we're going to be going up against Morgera. But you're going to notice something very, very weird and different about this particular Morgera, as you're going to see here in a minute. It is not the Morgera from Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, but Morgera the Second, Morgera 2. So, this is the tank version of Morgera. Now, for those of you who remember Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, Morgera was basically a robot that combined with 3 different parts. A tank, a jet, and then I forgot what the other thing was. I think it was like a nerd jet as well. So, what they basically did was just took the tank version of Morgera and threw, like, the face on it and called it Morgera the Second. So, when I was playing this as, obviously, a younger person, I had seen all the Godzilla movies. I was a little bit confused, again, why they couldn't just have the regular Morgera. And you would think, okay, maybe this is like a prelude to a fight with Morgera. No, no, no. This is just the only Morgera battle that we got, and for whatever reason, they decided to give it a different, a unique spin, which is weird because it's just basically the lower half of Morgera. It fires off some missiles, and then it has like that plasma ray, which the regular Morgera had in Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. So watch out for the beam. See, I finally remembered I had a dodge button there and used it. But even with the dodge button, it's kind of hard. Gotta watch out here because he is trying to fire a rocket off. I would not be shocked if it tries to fire another beam off. Okay, so we got Morgera down. It's even funny because they don't call it Morgera here, they just call it MGR the Second. So, anybody who never actually watched any Godzilla movies thought like, oh, maybe that's the second version of Mechagodzilla, like the bottom half separated and created that. No, no, no. At least I don't think that's what they were trying to go for the game's story. I hope that wasn't the case, because that would have been kind of weird, but Morgera has been defeated. Alright. So, even in the, like, loading screen you see there. Okay. So, we are going to be going through Gyoka. Here, we are basically going to have to avoid and also destroy the Space Godzilla crystals, while also destroying some of the crystal structures that block your way, because if you don't destroy those, they will hit you for a massive amount of damage. This is, my personal opinion, one of the hardest stages to get through, just because it's very hard to be able to lock onto all those crystals, and then there's like a lot of different things going on, moving parts. So, you know, you have those random things that are coming through. Sometimes you like hit the beam and you're late on the attack, so then you just get hit. Another thing is there's not too much else that you have to worry about, but let's say I fire off a beam to get one of those things out of the way. You see that then the little crystal missiles, I guess you could say, crystal pillars, start coming out, and running a rough shot on you. It's very, very annoying, to say the very least. There's a good example where you have to be careful out, because if you don't juke and jive here, you will get a massive amount of damage. It's very easy to lose this particular stage. Definitely by far one of the hardest ones. The only thing that comes harder is the second to last stage. Okay, let's go. Watch out for that. Watch out for that. The fact that Godzilla moves so slow also doesn't really help, because he's like walking at a turtle space. Let's see if I can dodge now. So a lot of the stages, you're just kind of hoping that you don't get hit through everything. You could just kind of keep moving forward here. Let me wait. And the thing is, if you like decide that you want to destroy a building, sometimes because of the cooldown, you're not able to attack again, and you're just automatically getting hit by the missiles. I might get hit, case in point there. So a lot of this is just like just getting hit and hoping you don't die from it. Okay. And get rid of that crystal, because that will take a massive amount of health off of us. We can't walk through them, unfortunately. You wait. See, and then you'll get like one little missile that comes out. Let's get that one. Okay. There's another one coming. Let's see if I get it. But then you see there's that other one there where you don't have too much time to react. I might not be able to get that one because, yeah, it didn't lock on. I'm gonna miss that one. See, that's something that also happens if you're not careful. They all do damage against you. Now I have to be careful because you see these giant crystals. If I walk through them, I take big amount of damage, so I have to get rid of them. And because you can't lock onto them, it's a little annoying part there. Let's see, can I get that? Okay, good. It kind of ramps up the difficulty a little bit. I should have locked onto that. I'm going to take a hit for that unnecessarily. Let's go. I'm going to take a hit. Yeah. It's just like constantly getting hit and hoping you don't die before you get to the end here. We're almost at the finish line. We just got to get through this tiny little part here. Oop, got hit again. I'm going to get hit 2 times here. No. Alright, let's watch out. There's another missile that's going to come in. Okay, we got through that stage. You see how that one's really difficult? Just because there's like the crystal spears kind of blend in with everything. So, we're going to face off against the monster that I said his movie kind of sucked. Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. Right here. Space Godzilla is one of the tougher fights in the game. Only because you'll see as we start fighting him, he has a tendency to have a shield that gets thrown up, obviously, just like in the movie. And the only way really kind of take out the shield, at least I think, is to destroy some of the crystals that are around. So, there's a lot of different things that are going on in this particular state. You can also break the crystals by just firing off enough of your beam. One thing that I noticed is, like, when you attack Space Godzilla, you kind of have to attack him when he's running off on the side. The other thing that I don't really understand is why Space Godzilla at some points moves in a weird, awkward, like, shimmy. Oh, fire off those missile things. That's like an automatic down, too, which is kind of annoying. It's like he does very slow, awkward movements and then starts shifting into, like, phasing out of reality, like, shadow stepping or anything. It's really weird, like, case in point there. Just watch out for the beam. Okay, I was able to stun lock him out of that beam. So yeah, then he starts moving around. It's like you gotta wait for him to stand still, but he'll throw up the shield, which gets, you see, kind of annoying. He fired off at least 1 missile on us, but that's fine. Let's target here. See, case in point. Case in point there. I've never really been able to figure out if it's that you just destroy the crystals to stop the shield, or he just likes the shield from that side. Okay, we caught it because it was beam attacking there, so it was left a little bit vulnerable. Okay, I hate when he does that because he's gonna try to grab us, so I'm trying to move back as much, but there's not really a true backbite. Yeah, he got us. I knew that attack was coming, but there's not much I could do outside of getting hit. That's why I think that was a bit annoying with Godzilla Maximum Impact. Sometimes things will just hit you, and there's nothing you could do about it outside of just get hit and hope you have more life. I guess, like in true Godzilla fashion. Alright, you threw up your shield again. You lethal shit. Take this. Okay. Let's fire off the beam. So you like gotta catch him in mid-movement. He's trying some shenanigans again. Let's move. He's trying to beam us. He's a little cute there. Alright, let's go. Alright. Let's see if we can see. There he goes. All the crystals are destroyed and he's still able to throw up his shield. He's like so annoying. Alright, let's take him out. Alright, let's target on those. Oop, not good. Let's lock on again. Alright, let's lock on again. Alright, good. Let's lock on one more time. Third time's the charm, right? Okay. Almost done. Trying to get that last crystal too, because at least if we can break that last crystal, he won't fire off beams. Let's trick him. I can't lock on. Why can't I lock on? That's so annoying. Okay, we'll get him in mid movement. No, he shielded again. How dare he? Alright. Gonna take a hit, but we're gonna take Godzilla out. Space Godzilla, I should say. Alright, the evil has been defeated. Space Godzilla. Very tough battle, though. Definitely one of the more challenging things that you're gonna experience playing this game. The music is okay. It's like low-key kind of nice, because it's an inverted version of the Godzilla theme. If you listen very carefully, I don't know if you can hear it very well on your end, because I don't like to play the music too loud, because then it overpowers my voice, obviously, as I'm commentating through this. Alright, so this is the second to last... Not second to last. Last chapter. This is basically Godzilla vs. Destroyer. Ironically, this is an airport, and they're going to say that this airport's in Japan, but in reality, most people remember from Godzilla vs. Destroyer, this was Hong Kong that he invaded at first with the airport. So, it's kind of interesting how they... Another thing that I think was a missed opportunity, in my personal opinion, is this last stage really should have been with Burning Godzilla. They should have had you where you mutated into Burning Godzilla, but instead, for whatever reason, they opted not to do that. They call it Hanore. So, Hanoi is where we're going. These things that you see flickering in the distance, those are actually missiles. And they're incredibly hard to dodge. Some of them you're able to take out pretty easy, but then after a while, they just start coming on too hot. And if you're not perfectly angled, you're in for a rough time. And you have to get all the missiles too, because if you don't miss one in the targeting system, it's like guaranteed to take a massive amount of damage. I might have missed them there. No, okay. Good. Also, you're gonna notice, just like in previous versions, or stages, I should say, the more buildings that you actually set on fire here actually destroy your field of view. Case in point here, so I can't actually see what's going on in front of me, which is a bit of a problem, because yeah, I have the minimap, but as you see there, I got hit by a bombardment of missiles. It was a really, really tough stage. They really knew what they were doing when they threw everything at you for this one. Alright, let's charge up here. Let's take them out. Alright. I'm gonna be very, very careful. And the other thing too is, like, sometimes you get goaded into destroying the plane because you walk over it, and that causes, as you saw there, that giant sea of fire, which is like, I don't want to say it's synthetically difficult, but stuff like that is definitely synthetic difficulty, where it's not that the game's actually difficult and that the game's just kind of changing the rules up on you, not necessarily playing fair. Fortunately for us, though, after those missile bombardment, the only thing we have to deal with are regular military. But the one thing that I gotta be careful is there's this one plane in particular that fires off a beam. It's kind of like a maser. And when it attacks you, oh boy, it can knock you in like 2 hits, which gets kind of annoying. The other thing I have to be careful with is, again, I'm more afraid of the little trucks on the ground, ironically, than I am of anything airborne. Just because they're like very opportunist here. Oh, case in point. I took care of the trucks, but now I have to worry about that freaking plane that fires off that beam. See? I locked on there and I was good to go, but obviously that was not to be the case here. Whoop. That's not good. Let me find where those little trucks are. I gotta be careful of those things that are bobbing in and out too. Should be fine if I move like slightly to the left. I can't really strafe too much. Gotta be careful of these little things that are all around too, because you don't want that messing up your day or your run here. We're gonna have so much little health when we fight the Super X here. Alright, I'm gonna try to Mega Man this here, as the saying goes. Watch out for that beam. I do have a dodge button, but the problem is I'm gonna dodge here because you dodge, but then you get hit by something else. I think we should be able to avoid that beam. Okay, we got both of them out. I think as long as we can get to the opposite end of the screen right now, Watch out for those tanks. I don't want to restart the stage. Can clear through that without getting hit. We should be good to go. Should be the end. Alright, cool. That was literally a Mega Man situation, you could say, but we did it. Yeah, we took him out. Alright, good job, good job. The only thing is now we're gonna have to fight the boss, which is the Super X3, like in the movie, Godzilla vs. Destroy, I should say. So, in this particular situation, we're gonna have to be very careful. Even though, I'll be honest with you, this is one of the few fights I do remember. Super X3 is pretty easy to take out. Because if you're just constantly spamming the beam, and you don't wait too long, he won't be able to get off the reflector attack that he does. And he doesn't fire off missiles, if I remember correctly. He just kind of dodges around. Yeah, so, like, the freezing ray, I don't think he's going to get a chance to fire it off against us if we play our cards right here. So, Super X3, Scramble, take off, right? Okay, let's take him out. And then the last fight will be against Destroyer. Alright. Like, if I remember correctly, all you have to really do is just kind of... don't let him fire anything. And you just kind of target right when he dodges around. Okay, good. Let me fire off because he is trying to fire off the missile there. You don't want him to stand still for too long, is basically what I'm getting at. The minute he stands stationary, he's going to fire off something. Alright. So we took out the Super X3 with relative ease there. Just because I've remembered kind of the exploit, because whenever it's going to fire, it stands still. So if you hit very early on, it kind of like stun locks it, so that it's not able to fire off the attack, and then it just goes to the next attack pattern. Unfortunately, I know we're definitely going to probably dodge and destroy, so I will cut it here. And we'll come back. Okay, there. Yes, as I predicted, we lost to Destroyer the first time. We only had like a sliver of health. Alright, let's go to Destroyer. Godzilla vs. Destroyer. Alright. He, for some inexplicable reason, also has a anti-atomic ray shield at times, which I don't understand because Destroyer never had that in the air game. The one thing you're going to notice is Destroyer has 3 different attacks that he uses, or 4 technically. Actually, I think it's 5 if I remember. So he has the Oxygen Destroyer Ray, which he didn't use. He has the horn that can fire off a beam type of projectile. Case in point there. Which does a significant amount of damage. Then he has a charging attack that he does from time to time. And then when he takes a certain amount of damage, he actually changes forms. We gotta watch out here. So we got hit by the Oxygen Destroyer right here. Let me get a little bit close here. The one thing that's kind of crazy is Destroyer stays mostly air. Okay, so this is where he changes forms. It goes back into like the crustacean version of him. We have to attack his little minions that come out. Which is relatively easy. It's one of the few times you can actually stand still, which I would have preferred to have been able to do for the rest of the game, because it would have made it a little bit easier when we were taking things out. Alright, let's go. Alright, good. Let's fire off here. Okay, good. Let's fire off an air beam. Okay, good. Let's wait. Okay, good. Let's turn back around, so then he reforms, goes back in the air, and then starts the same pattern again. One of the things that they obviously did to make this boss battle a lot harder is Destroyer doesn't take as much damage as the air monster, so it takes a lot longer to take him out, as you're going to see here. A very prolonged epic battle, and I'm so glad I moved forward when I did, because if not, we were going to get hit. He freaking shielded at the worst time, too, there. Alright. Let's target these areas. The wings here. The reason I do this is because you get more hits off. The more hits you get off that way, it's better because it makes it a little bit easier for this fight. Where's Destroyer? Let's take that out. Okay, so he's throwing his little minions back at us. We can stand still for the most part here. We should be good. Okay, good. Let's go. Alright. Off to the right. Should come out the left. I think it's straight up the center now, if I remember correctly. I remember a lot of this game, but there are some times when I don't remember certain portions when we're up the middle. I think he's gonna... left? Okay. I think then he reforms, yeah. Alright, cool. So, let's target this area again. I gotta wait for him to, obviously, get back up. Alright, let's go. Let's fire off the beams if we can. Okay, good. Good, good. We're still good. We're still good. Okay. I got scared there for a minute. Oh, he's reforming. What's it gonna do? Oh, man. He formed in a bad area. I can't position myself there. We're gonna get hit by everything. Because I can't. And Godzilla doesn't turn around fast enough for me to... What a cheap tactic destroyer use. We were too good for destroyers, so then he has to cheat to get his win out of this. That's okay. Can get that one up the middle. Off to the left, I can't attack from this angle. Okay, we still got it. Yeah, I'm trying my best here. He cheated us. Kind of exploit there. It's fine. We'll still be able to deal damage to him with half health. We're not out of this fight just yet. We have the power of main character on our side. Alright, we took out him a little bit. I don't want him to really, like, ram at us, because if he does, we take a massive amount of damage, and then it's automatic knockdown. Alright. He beam blocked us there. I'm surprised. See, case in point, he was trying to puncture us with the horn, so you gotta be very careful. He's trying to hit us with the horn quite a bit. Oh, wow. He went back into second form again. He's desperate. That's good. Let him be desperate. We're gonna eat him for breakfast here. Alright, another beam. Very good, very good. Alright, let's go. Beam again. Alright, cool. Let's go beam attack again. Alright, very good, very good. Let's beam again. Alright, let's go. Beam attack. Alright, not bad, not bad. One more beam attack. Alright, one more beam attack, I think. He's gonna throw everything in the kitchen sink at us at this point. Alright, beam attack again. One more beam attack. Alright, there we go. He will not transform again into second form, so we're pretty much almost done beating the final boss. I just gotta wait for him to fly up in the air. It's kind of weird that they made Destroyer just constantly fly up in the air. I would have liked to have had a bit of a ground fight, then like have him fly up in the air, then have like the third form. I feel like it was a little bit of a missed opportunity. I guess it wouldn't have worked too well for the real sure, and they wanted Destroyer Ray to be like a flying devil incarnate. When you really think about it, Destroyer really does look like a devil. He blocked with a shield. That was like so situational there. Let's move a little bit forward here. Okay. We don't want to get hit by that horn attack there. Okay, good. Let's go. Let's target there. Alright. Almost dead. Almost dead. Almost dead. He blocked again. That's so unfortunate. Alright. Let's... Oh! See, that's what I was talking about. If you get too close to him when he uses a charge attack, it's an automatic knockdown. He is trying to change up the rules here, but that's okay. He's going down very soon. Alright. I'm not going to try to lock on too many times to him at this point because we just want to go for the damage we need. Let's dodge the beam. Oh, wow. Wasn't that perfect beam bad on the end, but we reigned supreme there. So we have taken down Destroyer, and we have finished every stage in Godzilla Generations Maximum Impact. So now we'll get to see the ending and the credits. Like I said, I decided to do this as a long playthrough because the game itself is not very long, as you saw. On average, anybody, even with moderate skill level, should be able to beat the game, like, within under an hour. If you struggle a bit, maybe an hour and 10 minutes. But we're all about efficiency here, so let's see the ending here. The ending is basically kind of like Godzilla vs. Destroyer in a way. But you're gonna notice they changed things up quite a bit. So, like, obviously, Godzilla's not burning Godzilla there. And they're just kind of repelling him, thinking maybe they're going to be able to take him out, and then Godzilla just basically strikes back. Which implies that their mission to try to subdue Godzilla didn't work. So, that is Godzilla Generations Maximum Impact. And we are at the end credits. It was a very interesting game, like I said. It's one of my favorite Godzilla games, although obviously it's not perfect. The reason why it's my favorite is because it's one of the only games where you actually get to have, like, a lot of boss battles while destroying the city. Yeah, there's Godzilla Versus, aka the Godzilla PS3/PS4 game. Unfortunately, I cannot do Godzilla Versus because I do not own a copy of Godzilla Versus for the PlayStation 4. And unfortunately, Godzilla Godzilla Versus on the PlayStation 3 is like the inferior version because you don't get to actually play as all the monsters. All you do is get to play as Godzilla. And it doesn't run as great as I'd like it to run. So that's why I'm unfortunately not going to be able to do it for Godzilla Month. Maybe in the future, at some point, I can kind of track down a copy and we'll do it. But, like, copies go for so much for Godzilla Versus. Like, the game's out of print. I think I've seen copies of it go for like $200, $300. I think on the PS4, which I don't have a PS4, keep that in mind. I believe it was still in the digital shop. I don't think they had removed it from the digital stock, but again, I'm not gonna buy like a $300 system to then pay $15 to play Godzilla game. I know it's a great game. I was always hoping they would kind of port that game to PC, because obviously there's no Godzilla games on the PC really at the moment, you know, officially licensed, outside of now Godzilla Voxel Wars, and I'll be honest with you, that's not really the cup of tea for Godzilla fans. Obviously, we also have Godzilla's appearance in Giga Bash as DLC fighter, so that's like the only really way you can play kind of like a semi-Godzilla game on the PC, so, you know, mostly you're restricted to the NES Godzilla games, the Dreamcast Godzilla games, the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 4 Godzilla games, then there were the Godzilla fighting games for the GameCube and the PlayStation 2, the Wii. I have played the Wii version. I actually did a stream last November with Godzilla Unleashed and the Wii, and that was an interesting experience because the Wii controller is just not a very fun type of control for that type of game. You know, so the next thing that I do have planned, as I said, tomorrow will be Giga Bash. Ultraman DLC comes out, so we're going to be definitely checking out the Ultraman DLC, answering the age-old question of who's going to win in a fight between Godzilla and Ultraman. Obviously, there's also Ultraman Tiga. There's also Alien Batan, or Baltan, if I remember I'm pronouncing it correctly, as well as Chimera, aka the evil Ultra Woman, basically one of the worst nemesises of Ultraman Tiga. Like I said, I was a little bit meh on the Giga Bash DLC, only because I was kind of like, why we're getting 3 different Ultramen and only Alien Batan when there was like a lot of good classic Ultraman villains that kind of got a little bit of the shaft, that being Gamora, Red King. You know, I felt like they and regular Ultraman would have been perfect for just like a classic 1966 Ultraman DLC. That was unfortunately not to be the case. Maybe rights issues, we don't know. But regardless of what, we're going to enjoy ourselves tomorrow with some Giga Bash DLC. Anyway, that was Godzilla Generations Maximum Impact. I hope you enjoyed this full playthrough. As always, a like on this video is greatly appreciated. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, definitely consider doing so, as it helps the channel grow. And I will see you for the next one. Until next time, guys.